realize they're individuals and say, you know, it really is all about you. You will be living in this world together on your own.
That'd be interesting.
It is about you to own a house and learn that you have to do this in order to make $1.
So like have a cooperative relationship, have a mutual benefiting kind of, I do for you, you do for me. And like I was also...
And how about everybody making money, not just the CEO, not just the owner, but how about the guy who's sweeping the floor should own something too?
Yep.
Hey, there's an idea, because it takes them all. It doesn't just take the owner. You need the floor swept as well as you need the CEO and the loan officer and whatever else it takes. You can't do it on your own. It's impossible. You can for maybe a short while, but it will not be successful because you tire out. So there are programs out there, and there are ways to make the United States heavily strong without oppressing and making people mean. And that, you know, okay, Kentucky. Take Kentucky. Yes, we're oppressed. Yes, there's a lot of things. Yes, their government does a lot to us. But we as people can stop things.
Right.
You just need to stand up and say stop.
Yep.
I don't have to do this. I don't have to do this. As long as I got a place to lay my head and I got a little food, I don't have to do this stupid shit you're trying to make me do so you make $1 million and make me look like I'm shit.
Right.
You know, take the drugs out, take everything out of the world. Let's just be people.
Yeah, well, I think we got Kentucky and that's backwards, but I think there's actually a lot of middle class people that are like that. I think there's a lot of good people out here.
I do too.
I was talking to a homeless guy today, and he says that there's no government programs, but the churches and charitable donations by individuals is how he survives. The only way he can survive is by good people. So there's good people out here.
Our church is starting to connect. They are purchasing for, I want to say, $1,500. They are purchasing like 10,000 pounds of food. It comes in a semi from a company, and all the people will have to do is have a voucher in their hand, no questions asked, get whatever, you get a package of the food.
Food?
Kind of like, you know, they put together like, you know, whatever they need, potatoes, meat, apples, toiletries and different stuff, and they say, here you are, have a nice day. No questions asked.
Good.
And so there are ways that the churches are connecting. And how huge. Now they've got an actual company that says, give me $1,000 and I can ship you a whole semi.
Right. Yeah, I'm teaching Sunday school.
I know, you told me. I'm so proud. How's that going?
Awesome. I mean, I feel like actually they're getting a good deal because they're getting like, my classes are $3,000 a piece. So they're getting $9,000 worth of classes, and I have no other classes to kind of, you know, use all this knowledge on. So they're kind of getting like, you know, all of me and all my ideas. And I don't know. I think it's fun. It's experimental, and it's like church. So I don't feel like it's not like in school. My performance will be based on their grade, so it seems like there's more, it's high stakes in the school, but on Sundays it's more about spirituality, I think. So it's more about them being able to express themselves, being comfortable, know the material, talk about Catholicism and Christianity and God, talk about those things, but more importantly, get along with each other, understand who you are, know what you want, you know, those types of things. So
hey, I've got a question, because Kelly's going through confirmation and I'm teaching the class.
Interesting.
Yes. I got a question.
Yeah.
When they go to pick their saint's name, which I noticed this years ago, and I know you read up on a lot of it.
Yeah.
Why are the saints, all the saints have been tortured? Tortured to death for the love of God. Is it because human beings can't understand love?
I mean, why go to Jesus? What happened with Jesus? Who did that to him?
Who did it to him? Well, St. Lucy, the beloved man who she chose not to marry because she wanted to love God. So he tortured her to death.
Who killed Jesus?
What?
Who killed Jesus?
The Jews.
No, Hitler. The Romans. Pontius Pilate.
What are they called?
Pontius Pilate. The Roman prefect. The Romans killed Jesus. Now, later on, the Roman Empire adopted Christianity, and so when they adopted it, they added that part to where they asked the Jews. So the Romans, I mean, it makes sense. It's an empire. They're oppressing. Do as I say. The Romans were like making the Hebrews, because Christianity came from Jews. I mean, Jesus was a Jew. So, I mean, I don't know. When I'm teaching the Catholicism, I'm saying we want to be like Oscar Romero. We want to be like Jesus. We want to be like Joan of Arc. You know, we want to be like the good people. We don't want to be Hitler. There's a bad strand in Catholicism. So we don't want to be like the bad Catholics. We want to be like the good Catholics. And there are good Catholics. So when I'm teaching them, like you want to ask about the suffering, yeah, there is a lot of suffering. And I think what it is, and I admire Christians for this, because they could not pledge allegiance to the Roman emperor. They would do what they wanted, you know. They would, the Romans would make the Christians or the Jews, the Hebrews. They would ride on their backs. Old men, you know, just carry me over there. They would make them, you know, just carry them as far as they could. And if you're a citizen of the Roman Empire, you had to do that. You had to do that shit. So, you know, ultimately I think it's just oppression. It's militarism. It's oppression. Do as I say. And then you got this asshole, you know, Jesus, and he come into Galilee. You know, he was in Jerusalem at the time, and it was a hotbed. It was kind of like Berkeley in the 1960s. So there was a lot of political unrest that was coming out. So you got this asshole going around saying, don't believe in them, believe in God. And that's something the Christians would always do. They could not bow down to the Egyptian emperor, to the Roman emperor, because they are only ruled by one person, God. So they cannot pledge their allegiance to some man, because their allegiance is to a higher power. And I think that makes me think of this one saying, obedience to God is resistance to tyranny. Resistance to tyranny is obedience to God. Freedom is obedience to God. Resisting tyrants and standing up to oppressors, that's us being obedient to God. And that's beautiful. I think that's wonderful. Even though I'm not, you know, I don't believe in God, I do feel like the power of, you know, believing in a higher power made people do what they thought in their heart was right and good, and to stand up for themselves in the face of unbearable oppression. I mean, a Roman Empire, to stand up against the entire Roman Empire, that takes some balls, and the only way you can do that is if you think you got God on your side.
Okay, I'm a little confused. Of course, I'm looking in front of it, and I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I'm a little, didn't Pontius Pilate go to heaven?
No. Did he?
I don't know. I'm reading this, and we find in the Gospel of John, Pilate states, I find no guilt in him, Jesus. And he asked the Jews if Jesus should be released from custody.
Yeah.
Scholars have long debated how to interpret Pilate's portrayal in the sources. The significance of Pilate's sins, an artifact discovered in 1961 that names Pontius Pilate, is debated by a few scholars. Crazy. I learned so much from you, but then it's just...
Well, the reason, I mean, Hitler, we don't want to be like Hitler, okay? So you can't fucking kill Jews. You can't blame it all on the Jews. Hitler said that's all he hated. He hated the Jews. You must kill them all because they killed Jesus. The Roman Empire adopted Christianity after the Roman Empire killed him. So what are they going to do? We killed this guy and now you need to worship him? No, you can't say that. You got to say, well, hold on. It wasn't the Romans that killed him. We first asked the Jews. I mean, and how many trials have you seen like goes down like that? The judge says, I'm not going to judge this, but I'm going to ask everybody else in the court. What do you all think? Should we kill him? And then everybody's like, kill him! And I think it's the exact opposite. Why did so many people hate the guy? Wasn't Jesus talking about freedom and talking about, you know, being like who you want to be, like talking about peace and justice and love? So wouldn't the people love him? Wasn't he the king of the Jews? So why would the king of the Jews be murdered by his own people? Bullshit. That's such fucking horseshit. That's just, the Romans made that shit up. They added that part. I mean, the Bible, think about how long this shit was too. This is 2,000 years ago. So the first time they even wrote about Jesus was like 70 years after he had died. And then it was written in Aramaic. And then, you know, it's been translated, rewritten. Then you got the King James Bible, and then you got the New Version Bible, and then you got this Bible, and that Bible, and that Bible, and they're all saying different things. So I think you have to kind of take a step back. And it's been really fun for me because I feel like I've been pointing out, I'm pissing out of the church instead of into the church now. I'm hating Protestants and Muslims and Jews and all the other religions. And so that's one thing me and the Catholics can agree on. Like, yeah, all the other religions suck. But also I'm seeing the good things that the Catholic Church has brought about. So, I mean, that's the good thing is I think that Jesus he was a revolutionary. He stood up against the empire. He was a man by himself and just saying,